Hey guys, welcome back to another podcast where another animated views rating. Where this time we're going to be reading the review of the Monsters Inc. DVD.
So this should be more interesting than DVD Dizzy, as far as I can tell. And hmm, I can already tell it shows a lot more interesting details here. And set in the wondrous world of Monstropolis, our heroes, Mike and Sully, work for the Monsters Inc. company that takes the screams from sleeping kids, or literally, which are just robotic replicas, and recycles them for energy to power the big city. James P. Sullivan, who just likes to be called, or just likes to be called Sully, played by John Goodman, is the city's number one scarer. His only close rival being the devious Randall, as simply slimy Steve Buscemi. Okay. The monsters have an endless collection of bedroom doors through which they are able to travel between the world and ours that allows monsters like Sully and Randall to sneak in, scare the kids, and make a quick exit. Things look good for Randall when Sully accidentally lets a little girl in the real world into Monstropolis, causing panic within the community, as legend has it that a touch from a human child is fatal to any monsters. However, Sully finds the kid too adorable to dispose of and tries with his friend Mike to return her to the real world. However, Randall had discovered the kid, and the longer she stays in the world, the better his chances remain that Sully will be found out and fired. Soon, Mike and Sully find themselves hiding Little Boo as they name her from an array of dangers in Monstropolis, and not least a band of crazy exterminators and some surprising and unexpected twists and turns. All this leads to the amazing attempt to get Boo back through her own door, a door that resides in the absolutely warehouse storage of Monsters Inc. Mhm. The third in the trio of this year's nominations for the first ever Best Animation Oscar finally makes it to DVD, and the disc, like the film, is the best of the bunch. Sure, Shrek may have been slightly flat out funnier, and Jimmy Neutron in your face flashier. Okay, again, but Monsters Inc., the fourth collaboration between Disney and Pixar, has a real sense of awe and wonder, and what it takes to become a classic art. And the movie has been well served by Disney on disc. Like this review, it's all about the extras. For me, Pixar's films allow a peculiar pattern. I almost said peculiar, but no, peculiar. There we go. They start off with a whiz bang that really gets you excited, but then shift back into a lower gear for the majority of the film. The gags are funny, the script is sharp, the performances are spot on, and the story is developed. But it all seems to plod along pleasantly with no real surprises and or amazingly standout moments. Then it all goes ballistic as the final reel creeps in. And I found the same was true with Monsters Inc. There are some great concepts, the Harryhausen's bar, and the whole film is brimming with fantastic bits of business. No, don't worry, it's lemon. But when the climax kicks in, it simply blows everything that has come before out of the water. With Monsters Inc., Pixar has excelled themselves. Though I still feel that it has an all-around piece of perfect digital entertainment, their own Toy Story 2 remains the best animated feature from any studio. And it was, unless you count Toy Story 3, excluding 4 and 5. But since we're not into the subject of Toy Story, we're into the monsters anyway. Monsters doesn't have any of the contemporary pop magic music tunes that will date Shrek and skews to a slightly younger audience than the Green Ogre movie, but is consistently more inventive. The interplay between Crystal and Goodman is not as antagonizing as the Meyer/Murphy duo, relying on thinner improvisation rather than simply shouting insults back at one another. Funny as that was, the comedy here has a more gentle humor about it, actually lending itself better to the story and frankly leading to some funnier remarks. The music, or no, sorry, I almost said the music. I mean, I wish it was the music, but anyway, the animation is, as you would expect, top notch, and Pixar is top notch to this day forward. And Sully is a masterpiece of styling, performance, and character movement. Mike's Little Green Man approach perfectly complements Crystal's maniac 20 words a second delivery and a whole Randall design, a very Tim Burton Nightmare Before Christmas look here, I felt, makes your skin crawl, just as it should, if you don't count spiders, which we don't.
First laugh for this one. All right.
The story is tight and moves along nicely as opposed to rushing through, and that climax is one of the most exciting and involving sequences ever seen in an animated film. This is the airport conveyor belt scene from Toy Story 2, magnified, amplified, and blown up to extreme proportions. It's a tour de force of everything that can be done in animation and an exhilarating thrill ride. With Monsters, Inc., Pixar proved once again who is the king of the CG-rendered hill. And little did we know is that Disney California are some talks to make a Monsters, Inc. roller coaster that is loosely based off the door chase sequence. So this is going to be more so that should be more exhilarating and probably going to involve some motion sickness. Yep. People, I'm not joking. Disneyland is actually making a Monsters Inc. Roller coaster. I mean, they made one for Tokyo Disney Resort, and the other one from, I think it was the Monsters Inc. Sully and Mike to the Rescue attraction. I think I know that one. Yeah, but all right. I think I'm getting sidetracked, but you get the concept and you get my point. It should be more fun anyway. But anyway, is this thing loaded? As another in the line of Disney Pixar special collector's editions, we already knew this was going to be a doozy of a disc. What do you mean doozy of a disc? Never mind. There's so much to take in here, more to see than can ever to be seen. As it were, but here goes. Starting from the outside, let's work our way in deep. On disc 1, it's the main feature, of course, with a choice of alternative audio tracks, a surround sound effects track, which plays out the movie, allowing to hear us all the hard work that Skywalker Sound put into placing every teeny effect, as well as a filmmaker's commentary with directors Pete Docter and Lee Unkrich, exec producer John Lasseter, and co-exec producer and writer Andrew Stanton. An often insightful track, it never gets really bogged down too deeply with the technicalities of making the film, offering a nicely rounded chat that is of interest to both animation enthusiasts as well as casual viewers. The menus for this disc has been created in the 2D 1950 style of animation that features in the opening credits, and are nicely done through the use of Randy Newman's score and good visual timing. There is also a scene selection menu and a THX optimizer. The film also opens with a text Moo Cow THX promo. Thanks for not forgetting that in their animated views. something. Now I wish that I would always wonder how come DVD Disney didn't mention what THX trailers we get for the Pixar films we have already read, but Animated Views decided to take that point. The only thing I found a missed opportunity on the first disc was the lack of the outtake sequence within the third end credits. Actually, Animated Views is not wrong, because I don't see the outtakes in the end credits sequence when I went through the scene selection, probably even once. Pixar have a habit of adding the joke follow-up several weeks into theatrical release, and although other countries get these insertions in the end credits from day one, the DVDs are struck from the initial version of the movie. It's a shame that these wonderful additions are not left intact in the actual movie here, in addition to being presented full screen elsewhere. You are so lucky, international releases. And I'm jealous. But anyway, apart from the two added audio tracks, the first disc is fairly bare bones. The rest of the space is being taken up by a Refrain 4X3 version of Monsters, Inc., as well as sneak peeks for various Disney and Pixar releases. We get an in-depth look at the Beauty and the Beast Platinum Edition, which shows off the menus and some of the special features, which is also slated to be released next month after Monsters, Inc.'s DVD release, October 8th, as well as a Beauty and the Beast Interstitch for Lilo and Stitch's DVD release. Oh, I get it. Interstitch. Haha. Very funny. Back when Disney decided to make fun out of most Disney films to have Stitch crash in. Meanwhile, the VHS version of Monsters, Inc. had, Stitch took Jasmine away from Aladdin, as if that was supposed to happen. But that was part of the marketing. That's everything. That it's not like it's going to happen anyway. It's not like it's canon to anything. There is that worrying teaser for Inspector Gadget 2, the theatrical teaser for Treasure Planet, a very underrated film and most talked about one that everyone is still talking about, and even people are still begging for a live action movie, even though the movie already bombed to this day forward. But anyway, and the most anticipated trailer, a look at Disney Pixar's next project, Finding Nemo. Presented in its 16:9 in anamorphic widescreen. I have to say, I wasn't too jazzed up by this first view of the film. The characters are animated with Pixar's now customary astonishing animation to detail, leaving the voice cast to play out a humorous, but by the book Pixar offering, which reminded me of the first Behind the Door teaser for Monsters, Inc. A word of advice, though. Do not leave the sneak peek menu on the screen for too long. That giant white eye will leave screen burn. Well, it was nice knowing you.
Again. It's nice knowing you.
On to disc 2. And this is where the main bunch of supplements are hiding out. Unlike Finding Nemo, where we get the full frame disc, this disc, however, is split into two worlds, that of the humans and the monsters. After an intro from the crew, the main menu will also link you to the Academy Award-winning short For the Birds, released in 2000, and also that was pulled into the Monsters, Inc. theatrical release, as well as the new made-for-video short, Mike's New Car, featuring the Monsters, Inc. cast as voiced once again by John Goodman and Billy Crystal, plus a full-screen version of the end credit outtakes. There's the end credits. That would have been a nice day here 2 minutes ago. Including Mike's company play, put that thing like where it came from, or so. That's a very long title you got there, Mike. That's a very long title you got there. But I think take your one eye here, Mr. Wazowski. I see what you're saying to me, but don't get me wrong. I like how what you're saying here with your company play, but why'd you have to add like, I don't know, 5 to 7 words into the title? For the Birds and Mike's new car are also playable with audio commentary, which is a nice touch, especially on Mike's new car. Oh, so animated views. You're just going to repeat the same title of the short that I mentioned twice again, right? Where Pete Docter hands over the task to his appreciative and very enthusiastic children. For the Birds is presented in anamorphic widescreen with Mike's new car shown full frame. Apart from the opening titles, the rest of the new car short seems slightly cramped frame-wise, and I wonder if it was not originally intended for showing in a wider ratio. However, it's very funny in the style of previous Pixar shorts with a particularly cartoon feel, and kind of gives you a feeling of Warner Bros. Because of the cartoon jokes that we get. But anyway, in the humans only section, this opens up the door to a variety of behind the scenes clips and featurettes. Leading the pack is the Pixar production tour, a 20-minute look into the filmmaking process. This runs as one piece, but is actually made up of the introductory clips for the various subsections on the disc, taking us from the studio through story, monster file, and design to final animation. After the last section, stick around for some Easter egg doors that will show you outtakes from the tour, plus an early animation test. You can access the opening to this tour again from behind door number 1, Pixar Fun Factory, which has John Lasseter showing us around a new animation building. Story shows a wealth of concept treatments and artwork. After the introductory clip, Monsters Are Real has the cast and crew jokingly referred to their experiences of monster kind in a short clip. The original treatment is also available for viewing here. And this is done very nicely. Original storyboards have been edited with voiceover Lasseter/Doctor reading out the statement instead of the text pages where we are usually offered. Running almost 14 minutes, this is a breezy version of the story, which retains the basic plot, but differs in several significant ways. A story pitch for the back to work scene is played out by a story supervisor, Bob Peterson, also the voice of Roz, and who was also a voice of Mr. Ray, and a standby Chick Hicks in Cars 3, even though Michael Keaton was kind of better for the most part. But anyway, Banished Concepts is a series of 4 deleted scenes presented in storyboard sequences with the original scratch audio tracks. Some final animation that appeared differently in the film is shown in the original Sully intro. Not long and not too different, but an interesting change. For those who are new about this original Sully intro, I'll explain it to you. Well, me and Jack could explain it to you. It's basically kind of the original take on Mr. Waternoose talking, needing monsters who are like confident or tough or tenacious or any of those monsters that are like that have the courage to do the impossible. And it basically describes, and also as he also mentions James P. Sullivan before he starts, as we see Sully himself starting to have his workouts, morning workouts, while in the version that we have currently and to this day forward since 2001, we just see him nothing like being a sleepy lazy bones until his friend Mike decides to wake him up and start the day.
Yeah.
Now, which version would people like? The original Sully or the final version?
The final version is more comedic,
While I do like the original Sully intro to make it look like it's more kind of action-packed, but not exactly like something you'd see from a PG film, I'd say that the rated G. I say the one that we have one is kind of a little bit better because a little. I think it's too intimidating to have Sully roar at the viewers and scare some children who are watching a movie in 2001. But you get my point. Oh wait, I don't. Too soon?
Oh, God.
Anyway, finishing up in the story department is a 5.5-minute storyboard to film comparison that utilizes the DVD angle capability to allow switching between two stages of animation using the kid in the city newsflash with Mike and Sully hiding from Boo in the house. I was about to say two stages. Wait, never mind. I was referring to the different one. Over in the monster file, there's more footage from the production tour used as an intro, which covers the cast of characters and the voice actors who lend them their vocals. What makes a good monster is a look at the characters themselves and what went into their designs. As a companion to that clip, the extensive character design galleries show the various concepts, both used and abandoned, as a series of still frame images, and it's intriguing to see the different approaches that went into the final look for each character. All right. That's right. All right. Okay. There is more artwork on show in the design section itself, though this concentrates more on the look of Monsters Inc. and the city of Monstropolis. Setting the scene is a 3.5-minute behind-the-scenes peek at how a set designer at Pixar creates a room or background in order for it to be passed on the animators for placing their characters within the scene. The viewer. Sorry, I almost said the animator. I can't even say animator, but I meant viewer is able to step through the scenes using the next button on the DVD remote to get a closer look at the various elements that are added step by step to make a set look real. I was about to refer to the wait, never mind. I see what I was about to mention what bonus feature that was, but I see it, but we'll get to that momentarily. The color script will be a part of the production process familiar to Pixar fans. This is where an artist takes the movie script and designs printed images whose color relays the type of tone and feel the scene needs to be successful. Master lighting is a nice idea and well executed, allowing instant switching between concept art for a scene. And the finished screenshot, as seen in the movie, the feature shows just how important concept art is in determining the final approach taken with the finished film. There's a chance to actually zoom through the sets themselves with a series of 5 specially rendered location fly-arounds, which have an added air of authenticity thanks to the addition of Gary Radstrom and Tom Myers at atmospheric audio tracks. Check these out, especially the tour of Monsters Inc. for a couple of very funny extra gags. Finally, there is a Monstropolis art gallery, a look at the final concept and final artwork creating and building up the big city as a guide to in-jokes where all of the major insider gags are revealed. For instance, did you know that Boo's real name was Mary after Boo's voice actress Mary Gibbs? You mean I just did not realize it until now? Oh wait, I already have. And little did we know is that I hear a very familiar voice of Boo screaming and again in Inside Out. Pixar, are you doing this again? Oh wait, I know who, but never mind. Moving on to animation, and here is where the film begins to come to life. After the introduction from the studio tour footage, there is an extensive 8-minute look at early tests for the film with some very different looking main characters. I don't want to spoil anything here, but do check these out as they are very fascinating to watch. Nice that you don't want to spoil that for us, since the last time you said don't spoil was those Easter eggs from Finding Nemo animated views. Next up is a 2-minute clip on the opening title animation, taking in some original ideas. Check out little director Jeef Wee Bodu Do's Chin Hair. That's a nice little name. And it's a good thing I spelled that right, as opposed to that one Sydney ship in Finding Nemo, which you might see before. And the reason for starting the movie in this way. Hard Parts has the animators, directors, and producers reminiscent about the tougher problems they had to face during production, such as Sully's amazingly lifelike fur and seemingly simple things like Boo's t-shirt. The shots department clip takes things one step further and highlights other parts of production on which the creators felt they did their best work. Finishing up in the animation section is a production demo, which again uses the angle feature on DVD players to switch between storyboard and layout, animation, and final color. This time on the 2319 situation scene. Well, there's the bonus feature I was about to mention earlier. But anyway, we're slowly coming towards a finished movie with the production process. Our next stop is music and sound. There's the word music I was looking for. Here you'll find a 3-minute section on the Monsters, Inc. Oscar-nominated score and Oscar-winning Best Song, If I Didn't Have You by Randy Newman, nominated 14 times for Academy Award recognition. It was fantastic to see Newman finally win this year for his contribution to Monsters, Inc. And although this clip makes no mention of the Oscar, it does pay appropriate tribute for the songwriter and song. In sound design, Radstrom and Myers led us into Skywalker Ranch to learn about some of the sources they used to create a selection of sounds in the final film. The 4-minute clip makes a nice introductory place to watching a movie on disc 1 with its 5.1 sound effects track. Ending our visit to the sound studio is a look at binaural recording, a different audio taping process that is optimized for headphone reproduction. This demo puts you right in the center of a cue from Newman's score, and although the demo is great, it might have been better to also offer the film or at least the music score on a separate track in this way to fully appreciate the technique. Now we reach the final stage of Monsters, Inc.'s journey to the screen, the release. Post-production has been completed. The effects have been rendered in the audio mix. It's time for the premiere. A 1-minute clip runs like a promo for the premiere itself. A zippy, slick, and far too soon look at the events of Disney's El Capitan Theater. In trailers and TV spots, in addition to 4 brief TV promos, you'll find the original theatrical door teaser, the one that we've seen in Toy Story 2, the full trailer, and the 3rd Charades promo, which took a gentle swipe at the then current Harry Potter picture, probably playing in a multiplex theater next door. Accompanying the trailers is a selection of advertising artwork in the poster gallery, which also includes some of the theme posters that were issued periodically to tie in with Thanksgiving, Christmas, and the Super Bowl. My favorite one makes use of Monsters, Inc.'s great tagline, "You won't believe your eye." Oh, literally, because Mike's one eye. The toys clip is a blood-tent attempt to shift a few more Monsters Inc. stuffed dolls, although it is fun to see the creators trying to come up with a non-commercial reason why they chose to market toys from the film, though there's no escaping the fact that the billion-dollar merchandising industry probably did have something to do with it. International Inserts is a fascinating look at the various changes that the logo's design, signs, and text goes through in order for Pixar to tailor their films for release in various foreign countries. A tradition that has its beginning way back in Walt Disney's original 1937 release of Snow White, if you don't count the 2025 remake that bombed, which we don't. The multi-language clip reel further explains the extent to which these films go to fit the vocals to the country of release, while keeping in style with the original voice actor's intentions. While listening to the multitude of voices on offer, I noticed that there doesn't seem to be translation for Harryhausen, thus proving that what a wide reach of the animation effects genius has. Completing our visit to the release section and to the human world is another link to the movie's joke outtakes, as if we didn't hear that already until now. After all of that, how about hopping back to the main menu for some fun's sake goodies. Enter the Monsters Only door, and you'll find additional programming featuring the animated cast. Under New Monster Adventures, there's another chance to see the Mike's New Car short, as well as several Monster TV treats, a collection for promo spots running just over a minute. Then there's a music video for If I Didn't Have You, the duet penned by Randy Newman and sung here by Goodman and Crystal, which isn't so much a full-length promo as it is a 1-minute push for the CD soundtrack. Podkickies 21 is a couple of amusing segments produced by Pixar for a Japanese children's series similar to Sesame Street. They are a nice couple of additions, and the difference is in limited and full CG animated are very much apparent, but in a nice way. And the ability to add optional subtitles at least allows you to understand the clips. Boo's Door Game is a set-top adventure for young kids, and where they must find the parts of Boo's door, no surprise there, in various rooms around the world and help piece it back together. Disney Storytime is a simple feature that relates a basic version of the film story, either as a read-it-yourself or as a fun read-along, which features some hidden extras. Meanwhile, the Finding Nemo story for some just only shows Nemo going to school, which is set shortly after the events, I think. But anyway, in orientation, you'll be offered the chance to sign up for Monsters Inc. yourself. Welcome to Monsters Inc. plays out the entire promo for the Monstropolis company as seen in the actual film. Just like the Buzz Lightyear commercial, Easter egg that we see in the 10th anniversary release of Toy Story DVD. And, well, anyway, your first day is a purposely grainy looking training film as they as corporate as they come, complete with cheesy background music, dated graphics, and happy employees gushing with joy at working for the biggest company in the city. Hey, you'll fit right in. The history of Monster World is another funny little clip, a basic story of man and monster, and why the monsters want to scare us all the time. The final 3 features are the Monsters Inc. Employee Handbook, Monster of the Month, and the scare cards are the Pixar's Disney DVD team having a little fun, offering a joke guide to working at Monsters Inc. The top scare for the past year, and some inspired collectible trading cards, with particularly funny readings and remarks from Smitty and Needleman. Also, you might notice that many of the secondary monsters have been named after artists working at Pixar. Finishing up this exhausting trip around the world of Monsters Inc., literally, the company and the film is one of the funniest hidden features I've come across. Within the Monsters Only menu, highlight New Monsters Adventures and then shift right, and this should highlight the eye in the Monsters Inc. logo. Select this option and you'll be treated to an almost real Easter egg and a terrific way to leave the comical and whimsical world of Pixar. As if All that wasn't enough. Insert the second disc into a PC drive for more monstrous fun. In particular, the full DVD-ROM game, The Lunch Room, were presented with a pretty decent custom menu page featuring booths surrounded by various monsters with repeat links to the set-top interactive features, Boo's Door game, and a Disney storybook. The main lunchroom game seems to be a level promoted from the Monsters Inc. Screen Team Training CD-ROM, which was released when the film hit theaters 24 years ago, not last year, even though it just last year was 2001, but with 24 years was already, or should I say 24? But anyway, it's a shame that the disc does not include the few freebie games that were given away in various promotions or any online games. But the lunchroom is a good example and features a nice introduction from Sully, though not I Wonder, voiced by Goodman here. The game really has little to do with Mike or Sully, but does a good job of coordinating children's hand/eye movement, and the speed of the game progress is over 30 accessible levels, providing good entertainment for the younger set. Behind the Screams features the outtakes clip yet again, plus a full still image reproduction of Mike's theater program for his company play, and a funny comical addition. Thank you for describing his theater program without having 6 to 7 words on there. On the Job with Mike and Sully is the 2.5-minute special report from Channel 13, which quizzes our two monsters about their job at Monsters Inc. And it seems to be another piece of animation created for the disc, and More Monsters is no bad at that thing at all. Unfortunately, unlike previous collectors' Disney titles, such as the Pixar collaboration A Bug's Life, Monsters Inc. is presented in a slimline 2-disc case rather than the double-sized and more substantial boxes of the other releases. Not a major problem, although this does have a subconscious effect that the package doesn't feel big enough. After much discussion on the web about the various front sleeve images that went floating around, Disney Pixar have plumped for a simple design with the main duo, Mike and Sully, peering around an open door, with the shadow of Boo gazing towards them quizzically. I like this approach as it plays on the double act of our heroes, as well as keeping an air of mystery intact. The colors are quite muted, and it's a nice understated cover. On the back, we get a brief overview of the disc's contents. And one of the things that will cause a slight disappointment among various audiophiles will be the distinct lack of any DTS track. This has supposedly been dropped to accommodate the cropped full screen version of the movie, and we wouldn't want to be without that, would we? No, we won't. Inside, you'll find a savings and promotion envelope containing offers and inserts promoting a number of Disney specials, and a 12-page navigation guide of the same type that has graced previous special edition discs from Disney. At first, the amount on offer can be a daunting proposition, but take it all as it comes, and soon you'll be immersed. Just as you would expect, the video on this release is as good as it gets. The back packaging points to the fact that this is a digital film, mastered digitally and presented here in the digital transfer. As with older CD releases, we get the DDD confirmation on the sleeve. Presented in both its correct 1.85 anamorphic widescreen and the full screen versions, the 4x3 transfer has been specially reframed for standard televisions. I'm not sure why they went to all the trouble, to be honest, as a 1.85 frame would not lack as the same image as a 2.35 of A Bug's Life, for example, which they did make a good job of recomposing the characters and props to create a true 1.33 version. Needless to say, I went for the 1.85 in order to see the film as it was intended. It's perhaps not as sharp as the Bug's Life transfer, and I felt a minor softness about the whole image. But the brightness and clarity is still outstanding, and you can almost touch Sully's fur. The 1.33 frame version is a strange combination of open matte framing and true pan and scanning, with characters sometimes reframed and sometimes a slightly wider camera shot. The difference is evident right from the opening shot, which actually shows more left, right, top, and bottom of the image of the widescreen ratio. After that, though, things settle down, and it's soon apparent that the 1.85 version is more natural and balanced. It could be due to the fact that Pixar was once part and partial of George Lucas's company, but all of their films, including the first shorts, have ended up being mixed by the team at Skywalker Sound. They again do a sterling job here, and obviously jump at the chance to work with so much imagination on show. The Dolby X encoded sound is active throughout and really kicks in with the big sequences. A great way to hear the work they put in on a film with the added 5.1 sound effects only track, also in X, which is often great fun, though the inclusion of this track is coupled with a otherwise redundant 4:3 ratio version has meant the loss of something a little more appealing. The DZS track found on widescreen only international versions. Interestingly, to note that both this surround effects track and the additional commentary will only play with the widescreen option, leaving no doubt as to which version the filmmakers feel is the correct one. For animation and Disney Pixar fans, this has to be a no-brainer. Everything you could possibly want to know about Monsters, Inc. is in here, and the film itself is presented in a very nice and solid transfer. It's a shame that Region 1 viewers lose the DTS track in trade for the additional 4:3 version. If people want full screen, let them stick to VHS, unless you count the unsettling Flix Funfair advertisement you get at the end. But the Dolby track is very active and pumping up your amp bass up a little would probably compensate for the lack of any deeper punch that might have come in having the extra audio option. There is some overlap between sections in the supplementary material, not least the same clips available from various menus. And overall, I felt this was ultimately like the other CG monster of the year, Shrek, was a really good 1.5 disc edition brought up to 2 discs with some padded extra features. There is a lot to enjoy in both the film and the extras, with the commentary perhaps being the most interesting aspect of the bonus features and offer to collectors. On offer to collectors, sorry. And at the end of it all, you may feel a little monstered out, but you will have had a really fun trip. Animated classic or back to the drawing board. 8 out of 10 for the main feature. Supplements 9 out of 10. Video image 9 out of 10. 10 out of 10. Soundtrack 9 out of 10. Overall disc 9 out of 10. All right.
Oh boy. Woo. 43 minutes in. Okay. That was fun while it lasted, guys.
That was.
I think the next time we'll do another podcast will probably be on Wednesday. And for that, we can do the animated views reading of a Shrek 2, review of the Shrek 2 DVD. Sound like a good idea?
Yep.
That's for right now. We're going to bed. So, guys, we will see you all on Wednesday.